We're constantly being told to be leaders, to strive to be the absolute best. But have you ever just stopped and asked, why? In this explainer, we're going to deconstruct our modern obsession with leadership. And what we're going to uncover is an origin story that is probably not at all what you think.
When we think of a leader, we usually picture someone with a ton of charisma. You know the type, right? They've got that confident walk, a big open smile, their speech is calm and unhurried. It's like they just naturally radiate positive thinking and empathy, but without a hint of arrogance.
And all those traits we just listed, yeah, they can pretty much be boiled down to one single powerful word: confidence. This is the ideal, the thing we're all told we should be chasing.
But here's the twist. Decades ago, the famous organizational psychologist Warren Bennis asked a question that feels, more relevant today than ever. He just asked, but where are the leaders?
And that question gets right to the heart of the modern leadership paradox. We live in a world that is completely obsessed with the idea of leadership, but so many of us feel like there's a real lack of it out there.
I mean, think about it. Our entire culture is pretty much built on rivalry. We all have this deep-seated thirst for success, this desire to be smarter, more capable, just better than the next person. In a world like that, leadership stops being just a role and it turns into the ultimate measure of our personal and professional worth.
So, how in the world did we get here? Well, the answer isn't in some psychology textbook. It's actually hiding in a really surprising piece of industrial history. Our story kicks off not in a philosophy lecture, but on a factory floor with an engineer named Frederick Winslow Taylor. He's the guy who, over 100 years ago, kind of accidentally reshaped our entire mindset about what work and success even mean.
This slide really shows the stark contrast. Before Taylor came along, the standard was just the average worker. The whole group of workers decided the pace, and the focus was on the collective. Taylor completely flipped that script. He made the best worker the new standard, management set a relentless pace, and the focus shifted big time to the individual.
And this gave birth to what academics call an excellocentric norm. Now, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is actually super simple. An organization's standards for everything are now based on its most productive workers, not the average ones. All of a sudden, everybody is being measured against the very best.
So how did he actually do this? Well, Taylor would literally walk the factory floor, find a worker, like this one guy named Schmidt, and ask him a shockingly direct question. I want to know whether you are a high-priced man or one of these cheap fellas. He was just straight up identifying the top performers.
And once he found his high-priced man, the instructions for everyone else were crystal clear. A high-priced man does just what he's told. You will do exactly as this man tells you tomorrow. The whole goal was to study what the best worker did and then make everybody do it the exact same way.
And here's why this idea spread like wildfire. It really, really worked. By making the performance of the best worker the new standard for all workers, Taylor achieved a staggering fourfold increase in productivity. I mean, this wasn't just a little improvement. It was a total revolution in efficiency. But an idea this powerful doesn't just stay put. This hyper-efficient factory principle didn't stay in the factory. It started to bleed out into our culture, and eventually it became a core value. Just look at this survey data. It's pretty wild. When asked to rate their own leadership ability, an incredible 70% of men put themselves in the top quarter of the population. We've internalized this be the best mindset so deeply that, well, mathematically, most of us have a really skewed perception of where we actually stand. We all think we're above average.
So what's the price we pay for all this? What's the psychological cost of living in a world where everyone is expected to be a leader? Well, this constant competition creates some pretty deep-seated anxiety.
As the psychoanalyst Karen Horney pointed out, this isn't just human nature. She said, rivalry is not biologically determined, but is the result of given cultural conditions. In other words, we weren't born this way. We built this system of competition ourselves. And what this has created is a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. Okay, so step 1, the system demands excellence from everybody. Step 2, that constant comparison to the best makes us all feel insecure. So step 3, what's the only way to feel secure again? Strive to become a leader yourself. And step 4, that just reinforces the entire system, and the cycle starts all over again.
But of course, people aren't robots. We all navigate this high-pressure system in different ways.
If you look at different approaches to leadership, like say authoritarian versus democratic, you see these totally distinct styles emerge from within this pressure cooker. The authoritarian leader, they give sharp orders, they stay outside the group. The democratic leader, on the other hand, uses suggestions and works from within it.
And what these different styles really prove is that while the pressure to lead is universal, our response to it is deeply individual. Understanding where that pressure came from helps explain why people adopt all these different strategies just to cope and to succeed.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. We've traced this intense pressure to be the best all the way back to an engineer on a factory floor. We've seen how it created a culture of constant competition and this cycle of insecurity. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you know where all this pressure comes from, how does it change the way you see your own ambitions?